Hi folks, Chris Martin here with another edition of Diplomacy Academy. In this third edition, we're going to look at negotiations, the very heart of diplomacy. Our first two episodes talked about tactics and decisions that you make when you're moving the pieces. Today, we're going to look at negotiations and how you decide what to say, how you evaluate what other people are saying, and how you make decisions about the kinds of choices you should be making in these conversations. Obviously, this is a huge topic, and one that I'll return to again and again over the course of this series. For today, I want to focus on one particular type of negotiation, something I call the next conversation. This happens in almost every diplomacy game. More often than not, it happens multiple times in every diplomacy game. So it's an important one to have some tools to go into. There's a great example of this in some previously unseen footage from the World Diplomacy Championships in 2016. So let's watch a clip here with Peter Jürgen as Austria and Dave Miletsky as Turkey.
The stress, right. Yeah, like what do you want? My stress, like not just any board members tired of much less.
Well, I mean, I'd like to have happening what like this. We tried last turn.
I'm doing it again. Sometimes they decide a game, like not always, but sometimes they decide a game, and I feel like this one's more than some. Maybe
this is me tilting over.
Decided early on. So.
The way I want you to consider this video clip is as an example of the next conversation. The next conversation is the one you have with the person after a lie was told in the previous season. It really doesn't matter who did the lying. Something happened, the board has changed, and now you have to consider the possibility of working with this person again. Whenever I go into the next conversation, whether I'm the one who did the lying or whether I was the one who was lied to, I have three things that I keep in mind. Well, there's a fourth thing, but that's really a general rule for all diplomacy. 1. Address the lie. This, for me, is crucial to continued negotiations. If you don't address the lie, whether you're the person who did the lying or the person who was lied to, it will undermine all future negotiations, hovering in the background. It doesn't mean that you can't work with that person again, but if you were lied to, and the person who you're now negotiating with never addresses that, there's always that thought in your mind that he might just be lying to you again. And if you're the liar, then the person you're negotiating with, you're going to be worried that they are always thinking, well, what about this? Is this a lie? And so it's going to make it much, much harder for you to have any confidence in these negotiations. The second thing I'm looking to do in the next conversation is to establish the new working relationship between these powers. If I was the person who was lied to, and I came out the winner, I've got the moral high ground because they lied to me, and I've got the tactical superiority because what they tried didn't work. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't need to work with that person now. So I need to establish the conditions under which I am willing to work with them moving forward. Similarly, if I was the one who was lied to and it worked and I'm now on the back foot, I need to establish exactly what it's going to take for us to have a rapprochement, right? Can I extract some considerations from this person who lied to me? Or do I just want to tell them to die in a fire? That lie broke our relationship, and from now until the end of the game, my mission in life is to make sure that they do not succeed. I want to establish the working relationship either way. Similarly, if I'm the person who did the lying, I want to discover how the person who I lied to feels about this. Sometimes, with some lies, it's not a big deal, and with some players, you can get away with that kind of minor tactical lie, I like to think of it, one where you talk them out of position because they see what you did, they understand why you did it, and they look at the larger board position and they're ready to continue working with you. So long as you can establish that now you're the senior partner, they're the junior partner, great, you can move on. Or maybe that's not the case and they're really upset. Either way, the second thing I want to do is understand what that relationship is now. Whether I'm setting the terms or whether I'm learning the terms, that's the most important thing to happen next. The third thing I'm looking for in this next conversation is something very specific to do. What is the next step we're going to take as a partnership if we're partners, or as opponents if we're opponents? Now, I can do that in a couple of different ways. The first thing I can do is I can make a specific ask. Could we please do this? Right? Or maybe the person I'm talking to has a specific ask. That's great. What I want to do in that moment is understand what the next set of orders I'm going to write relative to that power is going to be. A lot of this hinges on my assessment of the state of the relationship. Are we good? Okay. If we're good, do I want to take that relationship and work with it now? Or do I want to take advantage of that relationship again? Sometimes you can have that conversation, repair the relationship, and decide that the thing to do that is in your best self-interest is to stab that person again. That's one of the things that makes diplomacy kind of a hard game to play for a lot of people, is that sometimes the right thing to do is to take advantage of somebody who you've got a good relationship with. On the other side of that coin, do I not trust this person? Do I feel like they're being shady? Because that is definitely going to influence my decision. I'm going to be paying close attention to what they say and the way they say it. I'm going to take all of that and try and distill it down to the next action. And ideally, I leave the conversation with a specific set of orders in mind, and that my partner has a specific set of orders in mind. This is not always going to be the case, but if you're engaged in the kind of tactical lying that I'm basing this on, then you're probably going to have units engaged and you're going to want something specific. Whether you believe it or not, whether your partner believes it or not, is almost immaterial. It's important to establish it. More than once, I've had a situation where I was working with a person, they lied to me, I lied to them, we have a conversation, and we lie to each other again, but we both know that we're lying to each other again, so we write the correct set of orders anyway. It's all about making that judgment call. Finally, the fourth thing, the thing that flows through all of the other steps, is listening. You have to be listening to what they say. You have to be listening to how they say it. You have to be listening to what they don't say. Is there something that they aren't talking about that they should be talking about? That's valuable information. Do you bring it up or do you let it slide? These are the kinds of judgments that you have to make in these negotiations. To review, first, address the lie. Second, establish the status of the relationship. And third, come up with a specific tactical plan. While you're doing all of that, make sure you listen. Let's go ahead and look at that clip of Peter and David again and see how that conversation lines up with these 4 steps.
The stress, yeah, like what do you want? My stress, like not of just any board.
Well, I mean, I'd like to have him what we tried last turn.
I'm doing it again. Sometimes they decide a game, like not always, but sometimes they decide a game, and I feel like this one's more than some. This is me tilting a little. Decided early on.
On the first point, Peter doesn't address the lie, but Dave does. Dave obliquely refers to it by saying he would like to do what they did not do last time. On the second point, the reason that they're having this conversation, Peter is very clear. it's a shit show. And by that, we don't know that, both his neighbors in Italy and Russia were supposed to attack him last turn. So he really needs to work with Dave, is his argument. Dave is more in listening mode here. He says he wants to work with Peter, so okay. They come out of it with, on the third point, a very specific set of orders. And that is to do what they were supposed to have agreed on last turn. I would say that Dave is maybe doing a little more listening than Peter is. But Peter is also doing something very interesting. I want to break that down. Peter tears out his old set of orders, where he lied to Dave, and starts writing new orders on a clean sheet of paper, a powerful choice for this conversation. That sends the subconscious message to Dave that he's creating a clean slate. He's going to be starting again from the beginning. We're going to erase that turn where he lied, and we're going to start again fresh. How did it turn out? Let's look at the results.
Serbia to Bulgaria. Budapest supports Trieste. Vienna supports Budapest. Trieste supports Vienna. Fleet Greece supports Serbia to Bulgaria. Sev to the black. Rum supports Serbia to Bulgaria. Ukraine supports Romania. Sweden supports Skagerrak to Denmark. Moscow to Livonia. Gal supports Rum. Ank to black, Bulgaria to Serbia, Con to Bal, Aegean supports that move.
Were you watching closely at the end there? Dave Maletsky's order was for Bulgaria to Serbia, not Bulgaria to Romania. So Peter's lie didn't work. He didn't get Dave to write the order that he wanted him to write. The tactical move worked, because Serbia did get into Bulgaria, and that means that probably Andrew Goff lied to Dave about what Romania was doing, and that Romania would be supporting the move to Serbia. We don't know. We don't have that on video. Thinking about that negotiation in the terms we set out in this video, what I see is that Dave figured out that Peter was lying. Peter failed to get Dave to attack Andrew Goff in Russia. So even though the tactical move that Peter was aiming for succeeded, it didn't succeed because of anything that he did. And he did real damage to his reputation with Dave. There is almost no chance that Dave is going to work with him for the rest of the game. Had Peter done a better job in this kind of conversation, in managing this negotiation so that he came out with a better result with Dave, whether or not that resulted in immediate tactical gain, he might have improved his results. One of the keys to success in diplomacy is extracting the most value from every conversation. It doesn't matter if you were lied to or if you're the one who was doing the lying. I hope the tips provided in this video will help you the next time you have to have that next conversation. That's it for this episode of Diplomacy Academy. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more diplomacy videos, and if you'd like to support what I'm doing, you can follow me on Patreon and pledge whatever you'd like for each diplomacy video that I make. Until next time, I'm Chris Martin, and I'll stab you soon.